Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Technical Track B. We have 6 more exciting technical talks in this track. Next up, we have Megamala Sinha, Graduate Research Assistant at Oregon State University, presenting causal inference from experiments and observations. Megamala, a reminder to start your timer for 15 minutes and enjoy.
Hello. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Meghmala Sinha. I'm a PhD candidate at Oregon State University, and I'm going to talk about my research on causal inference from experiments and observation. So this is a study on autism in children and consumption of organic food in the US. It shows a remarkable similarity between the two trends. It almost appears as if the occurrence of two events are related to each other, although through common sense, we know that neither is the cause of the other. So although such statement like drinking beer every day increases the chance of prostate cancer are common in news and scientific reporting and our day-to-day personal beliefs, and can be often mistaken as causation and makes us susceptible to logical fallacies without knowing the real underlying reason. Such naturally occurring trends are just passive observation of our world, and it's coincidental and or unexplained association. The causal learning is a science of learning cause from effect, and this is an important field of research because it helps us eradicate such spurious correlation. So yeah, so next we want to see that there are typically two types of data set which we use to infer a causal model. So observations are passive study of naturally occurring events in our world, and it helps us to know about the underlying structure and the true nature of a relationship, and it helps us to rule out other inferring variables. So but there is a problem. So given a three chain structure which have the same skeleton as we see in this figure, which we can derive solely from observation studies, but we cannot differentiate between these three. For this, we need an external manipulation or intervention. So for this example, if we intervene at B and we find that the third network is switched on, in this way we can tell that the third network is actually a causal model. So a dependence on both observation and intervention is hence very important. However, there is a challenge, which is a common approach which we use in our machine learning algorithms is like we pool the data from different experiments, avoiding the underlying conditions and the environment from where it occurred. So such data set has these increased statistical efficiency for sure, because more data, the more powerful we get our results. But these data sets can have unknown noise, which we really cannot tell how the underlying data distribution have been changed. So commonly we use a typical type of intervention. We think we hold all the interventions as perfect, which means there is only one target, but this is almost not the case in real world. Real world interventions typically are either imperfect, which means the interventions are unreliable and have soft targets, or uncertain, meaning that the off target nodes which are unknown. So these are some examples of real world interventions. So pooling data together under such conditions, they pave way for various errors, which we will talk about next. So what are some of the errors which we can find if we pool data together irrespective of the environments? So first is false causal dependence. So let's say we have two variables, vi and vj, which we can see are independent of each other. But they are detected as dependent when the data from observation and interventional experiments are pulled together. I1 and I2 here are like, these are like interventions. So they are, so those are like dashed, those are in dashed lines, and they affect V1 and Vj. Similarly, another condition can occur, which is false causal independence, where two variables, say Vi and Vj, which originally were dependent in observation study, suddenly they become independent, because we know that if we intervene, they no longer have a relationship with their parents. So consensus has yet to emerge on the question of how, given two or more data sets from different interventions, the data sets can be combined in order to minimize such errors in learned network models. So for this, we will like to propose a data integration method for inferring causal network from multi-experiment datasets. We call this as learn and vote, which we will show how we use this to analyze dataset from mixed observation and intervention studies. And it is also compatible with uncertain interventions. So we achieve a significant reduction of false causal discovery by applying this approach. So I'll go over briefly over the steps of this approach. So first, we complete basic data pre-processing steps like cleaning, removing outlier, discretization, just preparing the data. Then let's suppose there are a total number of K experiments, can be observation or intervention. And for each data set, we have some observed variables, which are ABCD. We have known targets if any intervention is performed. So those are in the red colored variables. So they are used to incorporate intervention in the search algorithms by preventing the arcs to be incident on target. So next, we create some random DAGs over the given set of nodes. The next step is optimization, where we learn an optimized DAG from each of these DAG using taboo search algorithm. We can use any popular search algorithms for this step. Next, we measure the probabilistic arc strength and direction for each arc as its empirical frequency given the list of networks. We average the arc strength for every directed arc over the networks in which the corresponding target nodes has not been intervened. So given this arc strength from each experiments, we average their strength and direction, the arc strength and direction over a number of experiments in which the given arc is valid. And finally, we store the average arc strength to build a final DAG containing only significant arcs over a certain threshold. So now we show a result of this approach on a real world data set. So Karen and Satches and the co-authors, they had this groundbreaking paper in 2005, where they inferred a signaling pathway and interactions in human CD4 plus T cells. So cell signaling networks are a type of naturally occurring causal network where protein and molecular species modify and influence the state of their child protein and molecules. These extracellular cues, they trigger a flow of information and modify the molecules and affect the subsequent molecules in a cascading way, illustrating the causal paths. So this is a graphical diagram and of a conventionally accepted signaling molecular interaction. The colored node are the measured variable, like the observed variable. The green are the activators and the red are the inhibitors performed by chemical reagents. They carried out 9 experiments, including 2 general, which are observation studies, and 5 interventional studies to measure the expression level of 11 protein and phospholipids using a technique called multi-parameter flow cytometry. So they use this to infer a Bayesian network and found 17 out of 20 expected arcs, and they missed 3 arcs, which are the the dashed lines. So these are false negatives. So we took these 9 experiments and we used our approach and we compared it with this baseline. And this is our result. So we can see that we have 18 true positives, and also we significantly reduced a false positive from 8 to 2, which is a significant reduction of noise, you can say it like that. And among these 2 false positive, we found them appearing in medical literature, so we can say that these are expected links. So these are the 2 false false negatives, false positives, but they actually appear in medical literature. So they are not really false positive. We can say these are true positives as well. But since we are using the Sachs model as our baseline, this is our results. So further, we want to show more empirical studies. So these are synthetic published networks, and we simulated them in the same way as an input to our approach. And from them, we obtained 9 data sets with associated ground truth networks. We analyze them, and to avoid bias from each network, we simulate both observation and interventional data set, and also model uncertain targets of intervention. And these on the right is some popular causal inference algorithm which we use as our comparison. This is our comparative benchmark. As we can see that in terms of F1 score, our approach outperformed 5 out of 9 studies and is more stable even when the network size increases. So as we go down the table, the network size is increasing. So in terms of precision, our approach outperformed all the baseline in 5 out of 9 studies. The ICP method is giving the second best performance. So we learn from here that the PC algorithms, which is the most common algorithm, it is able to learn better in case of small networks, that is less than 10 nodes, but it works only on observational data. So greedy works best, but it only underperforms. It only performs under perfect interventions and fails otherwise. And most importantly, we see that pooling data from different real-world experiments is not a good idea. So these are some further results which we found. So we plot the ROC curve, and we see that the area under curve is greater across all the threshold. And from our synthetic data set Asia, we also analyzed further, and we saw that intervening more improves performance, and also intervening at more informative targets improves performance. This is performance analysis in respect to sample size. So equal number of samples has been taken per experiment, and performance improves if we have a large enough sample size, but we also found that pooling is probably a better idea if sample size per experiment is very small. So this is some limitations which we have. So although we have a good performance, we still need more theoretical backing on why exactly pooling is not working. Pooling is not a good idea. And it does not work, as we have seen, if the data set is too small. Also, we have one shortcomings that we need equal sample of data per experiments, which is difficult to achieve in real world. Some future work could be to only use observations, avoid intervention because they are costly, and categorizing which information is which intervention is more informative for the same reason, and also including the presence of latent variables in our algorithm. So that's all for my talk, and thanks for listening. And any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Meghmala. For anyone who does have questions, please post them in the Q&A section and Magmala can answer them. I'll give it a minute or two, and if no questions, we can continue on. All right, well, thank you, Magmala,
Thank
for
you.
the great talk. I appreciate it.